there was just a massive toxic chemical explosion at the largest rail yard in the entire world. That is in the United States as well. All right, this just happened, and they are issuing evacuation orders for over 20,000 people right now. This is going on, all right? And this is not a coincidence. This is not a coincidence. This explosion, this rail car that exploded, wasn't even moving. It was not even moving. It did not even derail or crash. It exploded at the largest rail yard that has the most switches in the entire country. This is pretty much the rail yard that connects all the different routes in the country for Union Pacific. All right, this is the largest one in the entire world, and it pretty much has all their switches to get to the East Coast, the West Coast, to go north or go south. All right, so this is happening right now, and they have shut it down. They have shut it down, and they have issued emergency evacuations for this entire town that it is located in, over 20,000 people. All right, so this is not a coincidence what is going on right now. We keep seeing these hits to our supply chain, and this could cause massive backlogs and shortages as well. There are attacks going on right now inside of our own country, and once again it is releasing toxic chemicals into the air. And this is so bad that they are telling people to evacuate. 64 square miles right now are being evacuated in the United States, and tens of thousands of people right now. And of course it's a toxic chemical explosion, of course it is. And coincidentally, this chemical being transported as well is used to make explosives, and it's one of the most toxic forms of this chemical that can be used and that can be transported. So of course all of this is happening, and it is now raining down on people's heads, and they are breathing it in as well, not to mention the impacts that this is going to have to the supply chain for potentially weeks or months for them to get this operation back in order. Okay, this is going to cause major damage to the rail system and the switch system in the largest rail yard in the world that's located in the US. All right, so this is a major problem, and we could see shortages anywhere at this point, because this is going to cause connectivity issues with the East and West Coast. All right, everywhere. This is right in the middle of the country, and this is in the heart of the country, and this connects the north, south, east, and west. All the rail for Union Pacific is now at risk right now, and they've shut it down. They've shut down the highways, and they are evacuating people as well. So how many more coincidences do we need until these are intentional attacks on our infrastructure and on our country? All right, and this car was not even moving. That's what makes it all the more mind-boggling. It's not even like it was on some back rail. You've seen those pictures where they're just like, they're all wobbly looking. Okay, they don't even look like a train can operate on them at all. It was just sitting there in the rail yard, the largest one in the world, and it exploded, and it was actually holding perchloric acid. Okay, so this is a very toxic acid. It's more powerful than sulfuric acid, and it's one of the top ones. Okay, and it's also coincidentally used to make explosives as well. And this rail car was loaded into the largest one in the world. Okay, the largest rail yard in the world. It was loaded into it, and it stopped, and then a few hours later it exploded, and it caused multiple other rail cars in the area to start exploding as well. And there were witnesses saying that they heard 4 very loud explosions, and this went on for at least 10 to 12 minutes. That's what people are saying, this explosion event. And they all agreed, there were utility workers being interviewed and everything, that there were 4 large explosions. Okay, so what actually is going on here? This is very suspicious, and this essentially is releasing acidic smoke and toxic fumes into the air and raining down on these people. Perchloric acid, it's more powerful than sulfuric acid, and it could cause breathing problems, it could burn your eyes, it could burn your skin, and you do not want to be breathing this stuff in. And that's why they issued an emergency evacuation order. All right, so all this stuff is happening at the largest rail yard, which is located in North Platte, Nebraska. Okay, so this is called Bailey's Yard, and this is the largest rail yard in the world, owned by Union Pacific, and they have hundreds of trains that go through here every single day, and over 14,000 cars go through as well. All right, so 14,000 cars total, and hundreds of trains at the front going through every single day. Okay, and that's a ton. If you think about that in a 24-hour period, they are going through every few minutes. There's a train going through, and they are operating the switches and moving them and guiding them and directing them into the right way. This is a massive switch station. Just think of it as a giant intersection for trains in the middle of the country. That's essentially what this is for Union Pacific, and it's the largest one in the country and in the world. And all of a sudden, this rail car explodes holding perchloric acid when it's just sitting there. It was sitting there for hours. It didn't just stop. It was anything. It was sitting there for hours, and then it exploded. And people are saying that they heard 4 large explosions. All right, so this is a major issue right now for our country, and this could cause major problems for the supply chain as well, and not to mention these people breathing in these toxic chemicals. And how many more toxic events do we need like this? We keep seeing attack after attack on our country, and this is like East Palestine, Ohio, very similar, but even more suspicious, honestly. And now it is not just affecting people's lives and people's homes, which is already devastating enough, which is happening there and affecting the water and affecting the Ohio River. It's also now affecting the supply chain in the largest rail yard in the world. This doesn't happen in other countries. This doesn't happen. This shouldn't be happening in our country constantly. These massive explosions. It should not be happening. But for some reason in the US, this stuff happens once a week. There's a major critical infrastructure system that's taken offline. Okay, we saw the Marathon refinery in Louisiana had a massive explosion as well just a week or 2 ago, and it's been taken offline, one of the largest refiners in the US. So how many more coincidences do we need and need to be covered until we realize that we are under attack? And you need to start getting prepared and prepped right now. You need to start growing your own food, because the supply chain is under attack. The electrical grid is under attack. The skies, the weather is under attack. The air, everything. They're releasing chemicals into our water, into the air constantly. All these things. Go check out my video yesterday if you didn't see it, of what was just admitted from Biden. All right, he just had a crazy admission on live TV, this horrific plan he just announced. Go check out that. All these different attacks are hitting our country left and right, and you cannot depend on the supply chain and this infrastructure anymore, because they're trying to tear it down to bring in a new system that's tracked and trace, this new beast system. And you need to be growing your own food, because soon that's going to be the only way to get access to food, is to grow your own food. I have chickens. They lay a ton of eggs every single day, and I'm about to order some meat birds as well, so I can have another source of food for myself that I can grow. I can let the chickens get out and eat bugs, eat grass, have some kind of source of food that you can have access to that's not dependent on this, and have food stored up as well, because this stuff is happening. Our supply chain is being attacked, and these coincidences are not going to go away. They're not going to go away. And what about all the people that keep getting exposed to these toxic chemicals from these explosions and these derailments and from these sprayings. All right, I was reporting on how people's cars were covered in this toxic dust, and they were even warning about it, mainstream news, that it's covering it, be careful. It was filled with arsenic, they were warning, and it was filled with uranium. Scientists were testing for as well, for very high levels, abnormally high levels that are way above the recommended levels. And people are going to get sick from these things. They're going to start getting sick, like in North Platte, Nebraska right now. I saw some comments saying, oh, good thing there's only a cow, 2 cows and a stray dog that needed to evacuate. And it's like, no, this is in the middle of a small town in Nebraska, and it has 23,000 people, over 23,000 people in North Platte, Nebraska, and they are all being devastated and being told, leave your home right now, get out of here. This toxic acid is now raining down from the sky, and it's coating everything, and everyone can smell it. The people were saying that it smells like chemicals. All right, they're saying it smells like chemicals out here. Doesn't that sound familiar? This keeps happening all over the country. You guys give me dozens of comments saying all the time, it's been smelling like chemicals here. I had a major event just last week where it smelled like burning plastic, okay? And now the people here, over 23,000 people, they were interviewing people and they were reporting that it smells like burning chemicals. It smells like nasty chemicals here all through the air, and people are evacuating now, right? 64 square miles. They're saying an 8-mile diameter, 4-mile radius for this area. So that's around 64 square miles. That's a lot of people, and they were shutting down one of the main highways as well, all right? One of the main interstates that go through this area, right, of Nebraska. So this is a major hit to our supply chain, and it's not a coincidence. I'm sick of it being called a coincidence and saying it's no big deal, because it is a big deal. These are people's lives, and this devalues people's property. All right, this destroys people's businesses. This destroys people's health. People are getting sick from this stuff. When this stuff rolled in, I was feeling sick, and my stomach was hurting, and my joints were flaring up and hurting, and it hit my wife and it hit my kids all at the same time as well. And now the same thing is happening to these people in Nebraska from this toxic chemical explosion, and it's also shutting down our supply chain. All right, so please hit it up for me down there to help get this video out to more people, because people need to get stocked up. This is going to cause major issues. Even if they partially reopen, they are completely shut down right now. Even if they partially reopen some of the lanes, this is going to cause it to operate at a major reduced capacity, and this is like the main switch for the middle of the country. This is the largest rail yard in the country, and people need to know and need to be getting stocked up. All right, so please hit it up for me down there. I really appreciate that. It helps to get the word out, and I really hope you guys have big blessings for your family. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope you guys are getting prepped, getting your prepper pantry ready, getting ready for winter. All right, I keep thinking about it. Winter is coming very soon, guys. It's coming soon, and we could see something big happen in the winter as well. There could be a grid event. We saw rolling blackouts last winter. People on Christmas were having rolling blackouts in like North Carolina and Tennessee from Duke Energy, all right, in Georgia, parts of Georgia. Rolling blackouts, South Carolina. This was happening last Christmas, okay? And there were all these attacks on the power grid as well, and it's so critical because when the power goes out in the winter, you freeze. All right, if you don't have a wood stove, you freeze. So get stocked up now. Start thinking about winter now, because the supply chain is getting hit early, and this is also going to affect grain cart movement. Okay, think about all the harvest that is coming up very soon. Okay, there is going to be a massive corn harvest in Nebraska, in Iowa, in Illinois, in South Dakota, in Kansas, in North Dakota. All these areas are going to have a massive corn harvest, and now their main switch to move this grain around the country has just been taken offline. just been taken offline. So this could be devastating for our food supply as well going into the future, because this is right in the heart of America. And I'm telling you, there's corn all around here. They're starting to harvest some of the corn. It's getting all yellow, starting to dry out. They're harvesting some of the fields. There's still corn growing, all right? But some of the early fields are now getting harvested, and this is going to block them from moving them by rail. This could cause major issues, and it could also cause issues to getting grain to cattle, all right, to major cattle operations. They might not be able to get the grain there as well, because a lot of them get direct access, direct deliveries right off the rail, all right? So this stuff could happen. This could make food shortages and the food supply chain weak as well, and we could have major issues going into the winter, all right? So get stocked up on stuff for your animals, all right? Grain for your chickens and stuff, for your hogs, for your cows, whatever. Get extra hay. Get stocked up on this stuff now, because we could see major shortages of it, all right? There's already been big shortages of chicken feed and anything corn related, like hog feed. There's already been big shortages on it, and we could see a major buckle in the winter, all right? And you don't want your chickens or your animals struggling in the cold winter and not have enough food, have enough protein, all right? So please hit it up for me down there. I really appreciate that to help get this video out. I hope you have big blessings for you and your family. You guys really bless me up every time. I really appreciate that. Go check out my video from yesterday. Insane warning that was given by Biden himself. Insane, on live television. You won't believe what he said. I play it for you guys. Go check that out. And I hope you guys have a big old blessed day.